guest, picking up on the role of the research community in many of the problems and the challenges that youth face, we have a pretty good idea of what some of the solutions are. Now, too often the fault within the process has lied within the intervention itself, the implementation of the policy or the implementation of the idea. How can the research community best work with organizations from the youth ecosystem as well as policymakers to maximize the impact that organizations can achieve in terms of improving youth employment prospects and entrepreneurship opportunities? How can the research community best contribute to that effort?
I think they can work in several different ways, probably two main ones. One is in terms of really trying to assess what works. We have an idea of what works. We often think that we have an idea of what policies are needed or what programs are needed. But one of essentially the second session of the conference, one of the presenters, David Robolino, actually presented their stock taking of youth interventions from around the world. And he said basically only 20-25% have a positive impact. About half, it's not clear. It seems either it's very small, that it's not significant, and about a quarter on the opposite side had a negative impact. So you can imagine the surprise of a program when they found out that, for example, their program isn't actually helping, them, may actually be hurting. And you can see why, because if you take a young person and get them involved in a training program that takes a year but doesn't really do much in terms of skills development, those who weren't in the program have a better opportunities to, they're out there, they're looking for jobs, getting experience, getting other services, and so the program may actually not only not be helping, but actually may be contributing to a delay in young people getting engaged in the market, in the labor market, and looking for jobs and starting a business. So, number one, research plays an important role in trying to assess whether what we think works actually works in practice. And it's not meant to. The problem oftentimes for governments and civil society and program administrators is they don't want their programs to appear like they're not working. So we need to really, the research community as well needs to develop or help develop the culture that it's a learning process. It's okay not to fail. What's not okay is not to try to assess whether it's working or not. And then if you find out it's not working, not to do anything about it. But otherwise, it's okay to fail. Same thing with entrepreneurship. But we have this culture of shame in terms of failure. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to fail. You need to accept that you're going to fail, and the community around you needs to accept that you'll fail as well. Learn from your mistakes and try another venture that would work. And we see that within the context of more dynamic communities, Silicon Valley or others, where no, that's part of the natural course of events. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't, and you really don't need one or two major successes and you're fine. But it takes a while. The second thing the research community can do is, in fact, try to really. We do a lot of research in the region, but we don't take that research and package it in a way that it communicates properly to policymakers and program specialists in terms of, okay, where are the needs? So we may know, for example, we have a strong idea that a certain policy would be beneficial, but is that really effectively communicated to policymakers? Do policymakers understand the nuances of the research? And I think, bridging that gap is important, and it's part of the researcher's responsibility to try to take steps towards bridging that gap.
Dr. Nader Kabbani, thank you for your time.